part of the allure of Real Housewives is the drama, is the storylines, is the memes. I don't think I'm the type of protoplasm that makes for an iconic housewife.
I would always do a cooking show. I love to cook. I love to be in the kitchen. I was a former cheerleader. I would do Dancing with the Stars. Like, there's reality TV that I would definitely do, but the drama and the stress of housewives for 12 weeks is a lot. It is not scripted. You are never given a exact word to say. No one forces you to say or do anything. There is an agenda that they encourage you to follow. How you follow that agenda is on you.
For every 10 hours of footage, 10 minutes makes it onto a show. It is wild the amount that they film versus what gets actually shown. Let's start with the origin story. How did we get on Housewives?
When they're casting, the first thing that they do is...
Hi friends, we are back with another episode of Scrubs to Stilettos, and today we have a very special episode because we are going to be talking about our experience on Real Housewives. I'm one of your hosts, Dr. Tiffany Moon.
And I'm Dr. Nicole Martin.
We were on the Real Housewives of Dallas and the Real Housewives of Miami, respectively. I only did one season. Nikki did 3. We have lots to say, and you guys had lots of questions, so let's jump right in. Oh, before we jump right in, let's do this week's weekly obsession. Nikki, do you have something?
Yeah, so I have a lot of little flyaway hairs, right? Partly because I blow dry and do so much processing to my hair. And I saw this wax. It looks like a deodorant stick, kind of. And it's a hair wax. And it is so good when you're doing a ponytail or a little low bun and you get these little flyaways. You just run the wax over the flyaway and its flyaways be gone.
Oh, but does it make your hair greasy?
Yeah, if you're gonna put it up and then take it down and want to wear it down, I don't recommend it because it's a wax, so it's thick. But if you're going to wash your hair the next day or you want that really sleek ponytail look, this wax stick is awesome. And I want to say it's $5.
Where's it? Who's the brand?
SNTE Hair Wax Stick.
Where do you get it from?
Amazon.
Oh.
This was Instagram influenced.
Okay. My weekly obsession.
The crap I buy from Instagram is ridiculous.
I know. You are giving Jeff Bezos so much money, Nikki.
So much money.
But it's okay because he bought your old house.
I was about to say it's okay because he gave me a lot of money when he bought my old house.
Yeah. So my weekly obsession is this TLC Sukari baby facial from Drunk Elephant. So I have very sensitive skin. I cannot do lasers. I cannot do a retin-A. All my derm friends are like, girl, you need to be on a tretinoin, whatever. I have tried 4 times on the 0.008 percentage. My face is so sensitive. It gets red, it gets flaky, it gets angry. And I'm like, you know what? It's fine. I don't need it. So I use this once a week. It's 25% AHA and 2% BHA. So it's basically acids. And it helps to exfoliate my face, gives me that little glow, and it doesn't piss off my skin. So I really like this baby facial from Drunk Elephant.
I'm very sensitive to the tretinoins too. I can't do daily application. I could do max twice a week, and it has to be a super dilute amount and a tiny pea size that I spread everywhere, because any more than that, I get red, scaly, and I even break out because my skin barrier gets so destroyed from it. So I agree. For me, the AHAs and the BHAs are the best form of kind of peeling off that dead skin.
Yeah, and I will say, some of my derm friends that have been on a retin-A for 10 years, don't kill me, you guys, but their face has a certain waxy look. I can't explain it.
Skin kind of vibe where it's very shiny.
It's very shiny. It's poreless. It is beautiful, but there's a certain look to people that have been on those for a very long time, and it's not my favorite look. So I don't know.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not super strong on and I know there's so much evidence for it. I just personally can't do the retinols every day, all day.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move right into the Housewives episode because people had so many questions. Let's start with the origin story. How did we get on Housewives?
So when they're casting for a new show, the first thing that they do is they ask the pre-existing cast members, do you have anyone that you are friends with that you think would be a good fit? And so that's kind of the first level. Then they'll take a look there, say they don't find anybody that they think would be a good match. Then they have a casting company that goes through your social media and looks to see, who does this person follow? And then the casting person will reach out to me and be like, hey, I saw on your social media X person, X person, X person. Do you think any of those people would be a fit? And say you say yes, then they ask for their contact information, they reach out to them. Or they ask, like, it's kind of like a tree where they start with you and then they go through your friends and then they go through your social media and they look around to see people in your circle that they think would be a good fit. So for me, I had a friend that was friends with someone on the show and they interviewed her. And she said, listen, I don't think because of my profession, I would be a good fit for the show. I don't think my clients would have respect for me if I did the show. But I have a girlfriend that is very similar to me in terms of personality who I think would be a good fit. And so I was introduced through her.
Interesting. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that basically in order to be cast for Real Housewives, you have to have a close degree of separation from a current cast member. Like if you do not know anybody or anyone in their immediate circle, the chances that you are going to get cast is very, very low. Would you agree?
Yes, to a certain extent. I don't think you have to be very good friends, but I think there has to be some way to connect you to a castmate, if that makes sense.
Yes. And look, if they really, really want you and you become known to the casting company or the producers, they'll be like, oh, you sort of know this person, right? But you have to sort of be brought on to the show as a friend of a current cast member. There has to be some sort of connection, albeit sometimes weak. But you can't just be like a rando that knows none of them.
Yeah, there has to be someone that they can loop you into the show through. So, for example, I knew somebody that knew someone on the show, even though I personally didn't know that person. And then before we started filming, they had me meet Alexia because that was kind of like the point of contact. Even though I didn't know her, I met her before filming started. So we had like a long lunch and then we got to know each other. She invited me to like one of her birthday events that happened before filming. And so when we did start filming, I already knew her. And that was kind of like, she was the one that brought me in as her friend, even though we really didn't have a long-standing friendship before the show.
Yes. Okay, and so for me, my friend was Deandra. She had been on, I think, since the very beginning of season 1 of Dallas. I don't know because I didn't watch. And I had actually met her mother first, whom everybody calls Mama D, because she gets all of her care at the hospital that I work at. And so we had really met through my work at the hospital, and she just took a liking to me. She thought that I was, smart, knowledgeable, answered her questions, showed great care, really was an advocate for her and her anesthetic and surgical care. And she said, you need to meet my daughter, Deandra. I really feel like you guys would hit it off. And so we met back in 2018 or something like that. And then Deandra had a birthday party that she invited me to. And before we got into the birthday party, you had to sign this waiver that Bravo was filming. And I was like, oh my God, whatever. I'll sign it. I don't care. I was not trying to be any kind of way at that party, was not trying to, get in front of the cameras, have attention. In fact, me and my friend were in the back corner and they ran out of food at the party. And so I door dashed a pizza to the party and we were in the back, eating pizza and having wine and just, being crazy. Okay, Dandra called me like a couple months after that, and she said, we're wrapping this season of filming, and the producers has asked me if I have any friends that would be good for the show, and they remembered you being at my birthday party. Like, would you like to try out for Housewives? And I was like, no. Like, I'm flattered, I guess, but like, no, I was working as a full-time academic anesthesiologist, and I believe the first time she asked me, my girls were 3 years old. So I had like
You were busy.
Yes, I was busy. We were like potty training. It was just a hot mess. And I was like, I'm flattered, but no. And then she asked me again, like a year later, and she was like, will you just take a call? Like, they won't stop bothering me about you. Like, they think you'd be a really great person on the show. And I think she mentioned like, oh, they're also looking for someone who's like not white, And I was like, oh, great. I'll be the token Asian person on the show, and so I was like, look, I'll have a call with the casting person as a favor to you, but like, seriously, no promises. And then of course we all know how that turned out. I think they rope you in. One, because it is a flattering opportunity. I'm not gonna lie that like not every day, Bravo TV has interest in you and wants to find out about you. And at the end of the day, when they finally did offer the position to me, I had a really deep conversation with my husband. And we basically decided that it was for a finite period of time. I mean, principal filming is only 12 weeks. I don't think people realize that. I think people think they like follow you around for like 6 months.
We can talk about what it actually entails in a second.
Yeah. And he was like, I think you should do it because I think you'll regret if you turn this down, like what could have happened. And so that's how I ended up on the show. This week, I'm excited to share with you Timeline's Mitopure gummies. So I have been taking Timeline for over 6 months. I have been taking the soft gels, but lately I've been taking the gummies because these just came out. They're strawberry flavored. They're amazing. And more so, I credit Timeline with giving me so much energy and strength. I just came off of a 7-city book tour in 10 days, and people were like, girl, how do you have so much stamina to be going from city to city, standing up, interacting with your readers, signing books, taking pictures? And I think that good sleep is for sure to play a role, and also Timeline. I just feel like ever since I've been taking it, I have this little extra boost of energy, and that's because this gummy is powered by lots of scientific research. It's powered by urolithin A, which is a compound that helps with cellular energy. It actually works on the process of mitophagy, which is where the mitochondria sort of clear out the bad ones and make the new ones, and it's cellular regeneration. So I'm absolutely obsessed with Timeline. They have soft gels, they now have the gummies, and they have an entire skincare line that I use. So if you want to try out Timeline products, just go to timeline.com/scrubs and you can save 20% off your entire order.
So what the casting process is like is basically you get introduced by somebody and then you go through this casting company. You probably spend like an hour or two on the phone with this casting agent asking you all sorts of questions. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me about your family. Tell me about your past. Do you know anyone on the show? What do you think of the show? What do you think of the people that are on the show already? So a series of questions to kind of gauge a little bit of your personality. After that initial phone interview, if they think you would be a good fit, then they ask you to set up a time to do a formal casting tape. For this formal casting tape, they ask you to get fully glam, get dressed nice and pretty, and you almost do like a confessional, like the confessionals that you see on the Bravo TV shows. And this is like a 3-4 hour process, I remember. And they ask you all sorts of questions. Sometimes they ask your partner to be a part of that. I don't know if Daniel was a part of your casting tape, but if your her husband's going to be on the show, they'll ask you your partner to do it. So I remember Anthony and I sitting in our living room, we were having cocktails and we did our casting tape, kind of half me by myself and then half of it's together. And then that casting tape goes to Bravo, goes to production, goes to Andy. And then after that casting tape, that's, I guess, what they base their formal decision on. But yeah, it is, it's kind of a whirlwind, right? Because I took the call not thinking I was ever going to be on it. And then you do your casting tape. They're very charming. They make it such a fun process, like doing the casting tape. They tell you how great this platform is, that you're going to have so many opportunities coming your way because, Bravo's this huge enterprise. You never know what can come from it. And they also are like, we have thousands of casting tapes that we're going through. And so when you get asked for a callback, you're like, wow, I was picked amongst thousands of people that auditioned for this. I have no idea how many people auditioned, but they make you feel very special, right? Like you've been given this opportunity that so many people want, that you kind of like, Anthony and I, just like you and Daniel, you talk about it and you think, man, this could be a huge opportunity. This is a massive platform. Maybe we can, do all sorts of things as a result of this. You never know. Are you going to regret not doing it? And all of these things. So you kind of get wrapped in this world. And then before you know it, you're signing your contract.
Yes, exactly. It was a whirlwind. My first interview thing was via Zoom, and that was the 1 or 2 hour one. And the person who prepped me for it was like, oh, make sure you do it in your closet. And I was like, okay, well, my closet has like a really shitty Wi-Fi connection. So I had to buy this really long Ethernet cord that like plugged into the wall, plugged into my laptop, and then get like a little side table, bring it into the closet, put a bunch of books on it so that it was like eye level, all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, this is already a pain in the ass. I like did it post call one day because I was still working full time. The second one for me, they flew me out to LA.
Oh, yours was in person.
To meet the executive producer of the production company.
Oh, wow.
And I sat on a stool with 2 cameras on a green screen. And they told me it was going to be 1 or 2 hours. It was 4.
Yeah.
And I write about this in chapter 8 of Joy Prescriptions. So shameless plug, if you want even more Housewives tea, you can buy Joy Prescriptions and read chapter 8. But yeah, that lasted 4 hours and they pepper you with questions. I mean, it's like, tell me your whole life story. How did you meet your husband? Tell me about being a doctor. Tell me about having twins. What do you and your husband fight about? Like what issues they're like, how many square feet is your house? How many Birkins do you own? Do you have any vacation homes? It was very invasive.
It was. And I am convinced that once they narrow it down to like a certain number of candidates or people they're considering, I am convinced that they have some sort of psychologist or psychiatrist evaluate these tapes. And they're like, who do we think is going to be the most dysfunctional person in this group? Or like, who do we think like personality based on your video or whatever is going to be like highly conflictual with the personalities we already have on? I am convinced they do some sort of psychologic analysis on these tapes to find personalities that will not mesh well together.
Yes, exactly. And they're
not trying to create a cohesive kumbaya group. They're trying to
make a show
that they know are going to have a difference in opinions. Because they do ask you during your casting interview, like, say you had a friend, they'll give you like fake scenarios. Say you had a friend that did X, Y, and Z. How would you react to it? They ask you these like, how do you react questions? And I think they're trying to gauge how your personality is going to fit into the group and how you're going to like perform, so to speak, if something was to happen. And so I'm convinced that there is some sort of psychologic eval that happens that you're not aware of when they cast you for these shows.
I mean, I'm not even sure they needed psychologists at this point because these executive producers are so well versed in creating these shows that they know exactly what they're looking for. The thing is, I was very honest and very transparent in my interviews. I did not try to present myself as someone I was or like try to answer the question correctly, like try to guess what the producers wanted the answer to be and say that. Like I just said the answer. They were like, what's your conflict style? And I was like, avoidance. And I was like, I grew up Asian. Like, we do not confront each other. If I don't like someone, like, I'll just ghost them. I will stop responding to their text messages or just become progressively less available. But like, I was like, if you are looking for the kind of person that's gonna like stand up to someone, like, that ain't me. Like, I told them that, which is funny because for those of you who saw my season on Real Housewives of Dallas, like I did confront some people and I didn't really know that I could do that. In many ways, like going on the show and having my buttons pressed so far, like actually gave me the balls to like stand up for myself, which is wild.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely think I found a confidence that I didn't have prior to the show. When I was asked about my conflict resolution status or whatnot, I said, I'm kind of like a bear. Most of the time I hibernate and I'm chill and I don't get involved in stuff. But if you poke me, I will lash out. And I think they took that to heart and they were like, this girl's not going to engage in drama unless they come for her. And every season, someone poked the damn bear and we had a problem, you know? But if you don't bother me, I stay in my lane. I'm not one that goes out and stirs the pot or looks for trouble. But trouble always seems to find me because, you know, they like come and they start digging and pushing buttons and then
and like you can
I pop off because,
you can only push so much. I mean, I have a backbone. Like I'm gonna stand up for myself. I just didn't know that I was gonna need to do that. You know, I really thought when I was signing up to do the show that it would be fun and games and a sleepover and I was going to make all new friends, which in retrospect sounds so stupid. Don't you think that sounds so naive?
Well, to be honest, I am not a reality TV watcher, right? Like I don't typically watch any sort of reality TV. The only reality TV that I actually really like is like Top Chef, like a cooking competition, but I don't watch any of the summer houses, winter houses, I don't know, whatever houses there are or housewives shows. So I wasn't fully aware of what those shows were like. But I thought if I stayed in my lane I didn't engage in the drama, that the drama would just not involve me. I guess I was ignorant enough to think that if I didn't fight with somebody, they wouldn't fight with me. But no, there is no remaining unscathed. Is the moral of the story.
I just didn't realize.
If you don't engage in the drama, they will find
drama.
They'll make the drama engage with you, so to speak. So yeah, I was ignorant to think that it was going to be like, oh, a fun time hanging out with the girls.
Yeah, no. I mean, one of the things that I got like scathed for was like constantly correcting people for their vocabulary usage. And I'm like, if you're my friend and you use a word incorrectly, like I'm gonna tell you, you know? Like if me and you are hanging out and you say, like me and you have done stuff like that all the time. Or like if you wear something and I don't think it's flattering on you, or, you know, you have a piece of broccoli stuck in your teeth, like I'm gonna tell you. That's what friends do. But no, it got turned into this. She thinks she's better than everyone. She thinks she's so much smarter. She's trying to pick on me. And I was like, that is not at all what people who know me, like, and actually have hung out with me know that that's not my shtick at all.
Well, just to give you an example that I think is relevant to what's happening now. So Miami had their recent season just launched this past week. And Julia announced that she was adopting 2 boys, which I think is beautiful. I'm so happy for Julia and I'm so happy for Martina. Congrats, Mazel Tov. You know, I think it's amazing. They've been wanting to grow their family. Blessings to them. Julia wanted to announce it to all the girls on a Zoom video. Gertie was trying to like log into the Zoom video, but you know how the host has to let you in? The host didn't let Gertie in. So Gertie was stuck in the lobby, okay? And the Zoom video happens. Gertie couldn't get on. She tried. She sends text messages to Julia like, hey, I'm trying to log in. I can't get on the Zoom. Can you let me in? Can you send me the Zoom? And Julia responds with, sorry, I can't. The call's over. And then Julia gets mad at Gertie for not being on the call. Like, hey, I tried. I notified you. Like, this is the kind of dumb drama that, like, they're going to bring it somehow, some way. Like, Gertie tried. She couldn't get on. It wasn't her fault. But now you're going to still be mad at her and create this whole drama over it. Like, sometimes it's like...
Okay, but see, I feel
exaggerated drama.
Okay, no reason. Exaggerated drama is for sure. But I feel like that's the kind of drama that's okay. Like, that's...
It's just so dumb. I don't want to fight with you over a Zoom video that, like, I tried to do.
Yeah.
I tried to be there for you, and now you're mad at me because you didn't let me in? Like, how
But
stupid
don't you
is that?
think when the cameras are rolling and you know the cameras are rolling that drama is upplayed a little bit, whereas in real life it may not have gotten, like, I think people amp it up a little bit when they know they're
1,000%.
making a show, right?
But who wants to deal with, like, I'm sorry, any sort of drama or conflict is emotionally and mentally draining for me.
We went on the wrong show,
Why
girlfriend.
would I be on a show that intentionally amps up drama? Like, I didn't realize that was the game, right? And now that I step back, I'm like, how stupid. I don't want to deal with that drama. I don't want to fight with you over a Zoom video. I don't have the time or the energy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, there is lots of stupid drama like that, which I think is fair fodder for Real Housewives. The kind of drama that really like hurts my soul is when I see people going after each other's relationships, marriages, children, jobs. I mean, let's not forget that one of my castmates tried to come after my job, which I've worked my entire life for. That's what I call like the below the belt drama that is not acceptable. This kind of Zoom drama, like I can engage in this kind of, Zoom drama.
I mean, I guess I went on the wrong show because I don't want to engage in any of the drama. But yes, to your point, if you're going to fight about something on reality TV, have it be something stupid and petty. But for me personally, I do think that there are like no-go zones. If there's something that's going to impact someone's children, they're innocent, they didn't sign up for the show. If there's something that's going to impact somebody's like marriage or like life or their job, those three things should be off limits. Because at the end of the day, you're making a TV show that's supposed to be like fun and enjoyable. You don't want to ruin someone's life over it. And so I think in general, if people hold like those three things into like, as no-go zones, but my castmates didn't give a shit. My castmates spread a rumor that I was sleeping with the entire hospital, which is the most ridiculous thing in the entire world. And as a professional, you sign a code of conduct. Like even though it's a rumor and allegations, like it still makes you look unprofessional and could jeopardize your job. And then they hired a private investigator to follow Anthony around in hopes of catching him doing something so that they could publicly shame us that like he was like doing something wrong. Like, who wants to live that way? Like having a private investigator follow you to like hopefully put you on blast. My castmates were unwell.
That is wild. That's a
like, can you
whole
imagine one of them
level.
spending their money to try to follow us so that they could like out us to the world so that they can make an aha moment on TV? Like, who could like?
Wait, how did you find out about that?
Because one, we saw the private investigator.
Oh, he was not a very good private investigator.
We saw the private investigator.
They must have hired the Groupon one.
When we started like putting the pieces together, we're like, what is happening? Like, why are we being followed? One of my castmates confessed to me that the other castmate had told her that she had hired a private investigator because she wanted to move from a friend role to a full-time role. And she felt like if she had this like secret, this secret, and she could like drop this bomb, that would be like the thing she needed to like level up her friend status.
That is wild, so wild, evil, vindictive. I can't.
And that was
someone did that to me.
And so I was starting to have a lot of anxiety filming because for me, I was like, these are not my friends. Well, at least not everybody. I'm not speaking about the whole cast. I'm speaking about certain members of the cast because Julia and I were very good friends. Adriana, Gertie's one of my very, very good friends. Lisa, like I had beautiful friendships with some of these women, but some of them were really antagonistic and were really out for blood or for, this aha moment. And I started being like, feeling unsafe filming in the sense, not physical violence, but like they were really trying to hurt me and my family. And like, once I had postpartum anxiety plus the baseline anxiety, I was like, no, this is going to lead me to have a mental breakdown. I can't do this.
Yeah, I think your point of feeling psychologically unsafe needs to be reiterated because when I signed up to do the show, and y'all, I only did one season, so I know nothing, but you go on thinking, I'm going to make new girlfriends. It's going to be fun. Bravo's going to pay for us to go on this fabulous trip. Like, I really wanted to do something fun for my life because at the time that I signed on, like, I had not done anything fun. You know, I was like, had twin toddlers at home, was working full time, taking call. Like, it was just not a lot of fun in my life. And I didn't have a lot of great girlfriends. A lot of my close friends lived outside of Texas. And so I barely got to see them. And then you join the show and you get this very acute sense that other people are not there to make friends. And you start to feel psychologically unsafe, like someone is out to get you. And look, it's not paranoia when they're actually trying to get you. And look, if you are looking for somebody to misstep, misspeak, say something unflattering, you're gonna find it because they're rolling the cameras for, 10 hours a day, even longer on cast trips. If you are looking to find someone doing something bad, you're going to find it because you're already looking for it. I just felt like no matter what, like there was nothing I could do. Like if I didn't try hard to ingratiate myself with the current cast members, then I was aloof and like didn't care and I thought I was too smart and too good for everyone. Then when I tried to step it up and do their juvenile pranks and things like that, then, I was trying too hard or being disgusting or whatever.
Yeah, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. Yeah. And that's the thing that like, it becomes very taxing because you're trying to be yourself, but then you're trying also to like navigate this like war zone that you're in. It's very challenging. And I think that that's why they only film for such a short period of time because it's so draining that it couldn't last any longer.
Yes. I mean, it is mentally, emotionally, and physically draining, especially for me because I was working full time during the filming. So I was not a good wife. I was not a good mom during those 12 weeks of filming, but I had discussed it with my husband ahead of time. So he knew that he would have to, kind of pick up the slack for a little bit. And it's only 12 weeks. I think that's what people don't realize. Like the principal filming of it's only 12 weeks. Then you do a couple of the confessionals, where you're sitting and there's a green screen or whatever. Sometimes 1 or 2 pickup scenes. But really the bulk of it is 12 weeks. And they do not follow you with a camera 24/7. It is very actually structured, well scheduled. They're like, I would take call on a Monday night. So Tuesday I would be post call and they would, come to the family, do some family scenes with me and my husband, things like that. And then the bulk of the all group events are generally like Fridays, Saturdays. Yeah.
So yeah, I think the question I always get asked is like, isn't it weird having people follow you around? That's not the way this works. So like Tiffany said, the bulk of filming takes place 12 to 14 weeks of filming. You get a schedule every week. So typically for our show, we don't film on Mondays. That's kind of like production day where they get organized for the week. So you'll get an email on Monday with your filming schedule. And it'll basically tell you, okay, Tuesday, you're gonna have lunch with X, Y, and Z. Wednesday, you're off. Thursday, we're coming to your house. We're going to film you at home, your home life. Friday, there's an all cast scene. And then Saturday is to be determined, depending, I guess, on what happens at the all cast scene. Like if I was to have a fight with Gertie, then me and Gertie might have a fallout scene on Saturday. So you know what days you're filming. You know what you're filming in advance. And then they give you a time window. So family scene from 9 to 1. Okay, so I know that I'm going to be at my house. They're going to come. I'm going to do like a lunchtime scene with my kids. So you know when they're coming over, you get dressed how you want to get dressed. You portray yourself it is your life. You're filming your family scene, but you can choose what you want to do on your family scene. Like if I want to do arts and crafts, I can do arts and crafts. If I want to make a fancy lunch and pretend I have this catered chef at my house for lunch, I can do so. So yes, it's your life and you're showing what you want, but you know what's going down. So you can arrange it the way you want, if that makes sense.
Yes, and having only done one season, I don't think I was really privy to that. So I did what they told me to do, which was just be yourself and do what you would normally do. So I was like making my kids do homework, we would work on a puzzle, I would play with the dogs, like they were like pretend like we're not here. Just do what you would normally do with your family. And so I did. But watching it back, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I wore that, or I should have worn a little bit more makeup that day. Like,
But I think that that's what makes, I think, you like personable, right? Like, I'm sorry, if I was normally at the house in gym clothes on a Tuesday, I would wear like a cute gym outfit. I'm not going to be in high heels and Dolce Gabbana on a Tuesday making pancakes for my kid at 10 a.m. Like, and there are girls that are all, that do that when cameras are off. They're not dressed like that. So why would they portray that? But I think there is this pressure to look and dress a certain way and to like show this life. I tried to be very like authentic to who I am all the time on the show, but they're not following you around. You know when they're coming. You can dress the way you want. No, Bravo does not pay for your clothes, your hair, or your makeup, guys. What people are wearing, they bought. The makeup that they did they did on their own, or they paid someone to do. The only time that Bravo pays for your makeup and your hair is when you're doing the confessionals.
Yep. Yeah. But none of the clothes are, paid for.
There's no budget, no stipend for clothes.
Nothing.
You have to buy everything on your own.
Yep.
If I host an event, for example, I host a luncheon, I am on the hook for the decorations of that luncheon, the food at that luncheon, the entertainment at that luncheon, all the parties that people host, you have to pay for as a castmate. There is no budget for any of those things. The only thing that they pay for is your cast trip.
Yes, which mine was to Oklahoma, and we drove there in an RV, and I was like, this is bullshit.
We didn't have great cast trips either, to be honest. We always went to like the Keys. Like,
yeah,
we went
the year
very local,
before,
Bahamas,
Deandra told me they had gone to Thailand, and I was like, oh my God, I love Thailand. It's like one of my favorite countries. I love the food. Everyone is so nice. Like, I actually honeymooned in Thailand when I got married in 2012, and I was like, this is amazing. And then, because we filmed during COVID, we drove in an RV to Oklahoma to go Bigfoot hunting. And I was just like, this is bullshit. Like, this is not what I signed up for.
Another question that we get a lot is, how real is it? Is it scripted, or is it heavily produced? Do you want to take this one, Tiff?
Yes. I have never been given a script. I have never been given lines, but the producers, and there are several, there's like ground producers, junior producers, executive producers, they definitely tell you what they want you to be talking about. Maybe they don't give you exact lines to memorize, but before a dinner party, they will pull you aside and say, don't forget that you need to confront so-and-so about this and that she said. I mean, they are definitely egging you on, but in their defense, they are just trying to do their job. They are trying to produce a good show that people want to see. But I will say that I was pressured by producers to do and say things that I necessarily would not have if they hadn't have told me to.
Yeah, so it is not scripted. You are never given a exact word to say. No one forces you to say or do anything. As these shows proceed through the series, there is almost like a storyline, right? Like, you are following each character's story for the season. So, for example, I'm just going to pick Alexia. Alexia got married on one of our episodes when we were on the show together. So that was like her story for the season, her journey through the wedding process. So, for example, if I was doing a scene with Alexia, the producers would be like, Alexia's getting married next week. Why don't you check in with Alexia on how she's feeling about her wedding? Like, they're trying to push an agenda, right? Because they're trying to get through a series or a story with a character, and you are their tool to push that along. So I could go up to my castmate and I could be like, are you so excited about your wedding? Oh my God, that's so amazing. I'm so happy for you. Or I could be like, are you really sure you want to marry him? Because I've heard X, Y, and Z about him on the street. So how I choose to approach her wedding is on me. I can be nice about it. I can be supportive. I can say, I heard, that's like the famous housewife thing whenever you want to just stir the pot. Your husband's cheating on you, and it could be complete bullshit. So it's not scripted, but there is an agenda that they encourage you to follow. How you follow that agenda is on you.
Yes. And you know, I'll back up a minute and say, okay, I wasn't forced to do anything. No one held a gun to my head, but I was heavily egged to say and do things. There was a chicken foot incident where I invited the girls to dim sum at my favorite dim sum restaurant. And they were like, you have to make all the girls eat a chicken foot. And some of them were like, I don't want to eat a chicken foot. That's disgusting or whatever. And I was like, fine, don't eat it. Like, more for me. No, the producer, they have this app on their phone or something. And it's like a ticker thing. It makes it big. She held up her phone and was like, make her eat it. Like, it was a thing. And so then I'm like, okay, now I have to keep going. Like, please just try a piece of foot, blah, blah, blah. Like, they do egg you on when in reality, in real life, you would have just dropped it.
Yes. So this reminds me of an incident during my season of filming. So I was hosting a Mother's Day lunch as my event for this season. Alexia had lost her mom. Some women were having some issues. And so I thought it was going to be really nice to celebrate the one thing that brought us all together, which was motherhood. And again, like I said, when you host these events, you have to pay for everything. So I booked a really nice restaurant in Coconut Grove. I rented out the space, not cheap. And so I wanted it just to be our group of girls from the cast. Well, production had other plans. They were like, no, it can't just be the group of girls. Why don't you give everybody a +1? I don't want to give everybody a +1 because now I'm paying for 7 other people, right? And like that, you're not reimbursing me for that money. Well, if you don't give everybody a +1, your scene's going to be canceled. And I'm like, okay, well then I guess I got to give everybody a +1, right? And I was like, well, not understanding, like, why do they want a +1? Well, they wanted everyone to have a +1 so that someone could bring a guest that was going to drop a bomb. But that wasn't my intention. I didn't even want that. Like, I didn't want to pay for extra people. But I was encouraged to allow extra people so that someone else could stir the pot. And it all came back to bite me in the ass because I allowed this person in when deep down inside, I didn't even want any extra people there.
I know. It's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I do.
It's not so much that it's false. At the end of the day, I extended a +1 to everybody, but it really wasn't my idea. It was more like a little bit of pot stirring in the background. And then I ended up paying the price for it, which kind of sucked. So I think, like, yes, everything is real, but there's definitely things that viewers don't understand that happen behind the scenes.
Yes, and then they're very selective of what they show. And this is the other thing people need to know. For like every 10 hours of footage, like 10 minutes makes it onto a show. It is wild the amount that they film versus what gets actually shown. One season, the whole package is somewhere on the order of like 18 to 20 episodes for the season, right? They have so much content that gets left on the cutting room floor.
Oh, yeah. We call them the Lost Files, like whole events. You would film a dinner scene and they never use it.
My husband rented out a restaurant for a birthday celebration for me, and it was like a 4-hour thing, and none of it made it. My friend had a whole other event. We had a whole dinner. We had a whole pickup scene that they made us film after the 12 weeks of principal filming, and that didn't make it in. And I'm like, why did I have to schedule an extra pickup filming scene and then you didn't even use it? Which annoys me because like time is one of my most precious commodities, and I try to squeeze into life as much as I can in my 24-hour day. And so it like pissed me off that like we shot all this stuff and it didn't air. But the reason they do that is because they need enough material that whatever they need to craft as your storyline, at the end, they have enough supporting footage to craft that storyline. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So you do film a lot of scenes that never make it into the actual season that viewers watch. And that's what I guess I want our listeners to know, because it's so easy to go on these blogs and read all these comments from viewers like, I don't understand why she's so mad at her. Well, maybe you guys didn't see 2 scenes of things that happened while we were filming. And that's why that girl's so bitter at her, because she's been treating her like shit for 2 weeks or whatever. And you guys aren't always privy to the whole scene. Sometimes you just see like one angle of it. You don't see the other. So it's complicated, the relationships that develop. It's also very hard because in real life, if you get in a fight with your friend, well, maybe you put that friend on ice for a couple weeks and you have time to cool down, you think about it, and then you reapproach your friendship and you can have a civil conversation. Here, everything is jam-packed and consolidated. So say you have a fight with someone, well, now you got to deal with it tomorrow. Like, there's no time to process. Emotions are high for 12 weeks. It's really intense and stressful, I think, from an emotional and mental standpoint. It's like running a marathon.
Yeah, I mean, Andy asked me on reunion. He was like, the one reunion I went to, and I got to sit next to Andy, which I thought was cool. He was like, what's more stressful, filming for Housewives or doing anesthesia? And I was like, oh, Housewives,
Housewives
100%.
all day, every day. Because anesthesia is very predictable, right? You know your pharmacology, you know your physiology, you know that if a patient's bleeding or doing this, you do this. Like, it's very predictable. Housewives is not predictable at all, because you have no idea what the people you're filming with are planning, what they're plotting behind the scenes, what production's going to pick up on, what they're going to focus on. There's so many things that are outside of your control, which for me, being a type A personality, led to a lot of anxiety. And it was probably more stressful for me than for other people who don't care as much. But the lack of control, the unpredictability, the unstable castmates, and their stuff was very stressful.
Yes, I agree. The lack of control also gave me a lot of anxiety. And truth be told, like, I don't think I was a great housewife. Like, I think the kind of housewives that are good are like very drama involved, speak their minds. Like, those make the classic, like the Bethany Frankels, the Teresa, the Nene Leakes, like these outgoing women who are not afraid to confront people and in many ways like have nothing to lose. And I don't mean that they have nothing to lose. What I mean is, like, we have professional reputations. Like, I work for an academic medical center. Like, they are watching me very closely. I am held to a different standard of conduct than a woman perhaps like Teresa, who, you know, runs her own business and really sort of has no professional body
Correct.
to answer to.
They don't have to answer to anyone else because they're their own bosses. You know, they don't have a university that's like watching them with, you know, magnifying glass to make sure that they're acting appropriately. Like, you can't pop off and like act crazy, flip a table. If you say the wrong thing, you're going to probably lose your job. Like, it is a lot harder to be natural. You're always in your head, basically, because you don't want to do something that's going to jeopardize your job at the hospital. So it's hard.
And in many ways, I was like self-censoring myself, but also in many ways, like, I acted how I would act. You know, I wouldn't have like cussed someone out, even though I did in my head. But, you know, subsequent to my season, when I told my university that I would not be participating in a second cycle, I was told by someone very high up at my university that I was an embarrassment to the institution.
Yeah, it's definitely not something that's looked at in high regard from an academic standpoint, right? You know, they appreciate publications and presentations,
which I have.
Yes, but I'm saying in general, reality TV is not something that's approved in academics.
But one could argue that I was able to show that I'm a very serious academic anesthesiologist, as you've noted with my CV, and that I take my research, my teaching and mentoring, my clinical care very, very seriously. and I can do these things outside of work and still have a personality and drop
I
an
agree.
occasional
I'm just saying
F-bomb.
there's this misconception that you can't
Yes.
do both.
Yes.
And you're
Which,
fighting this battle with the hospital people, and then you're trying to get your castmates to realize that you have this job that you also value and you don't want to mess up. And you're just trying to like people please all of these people, and then you're running yourself to the ground stressed out in your head because you don't want to say the wrong thing. And it was a lot of mental gymnastics.
yes. And I think this is probably the reason that more professional women who have jobs that they're tied to or, don't go on shows like this. I see the conflict
Yeah,
of
I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So, would you do it again?
That is the $1 million question. My show aired in 2021. And if you had asked me then or 2022, I would have been like, hell no, I tried it. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. No, thank you. Now that time has passed and the circumstances in my life are a little bit different, I think I would be warm to the idea of trying it again. If there was almost a completely new cast of my city. Like if certain people are going to be on again, hypothetically, then no thank you. Like I am just not interested in working with certain toxic people that tried to like come after my career. Now, if there was like a half cast revamp, I would consider it.
Yeah, listen, for as stressful and all the things that I mentioned, the negatives about it, there were a lot of positives to filming, right? I think it was a huge personal growth experience. I think I was pushed outside of my comfort zone. I became much more confident. I learned about boundary setting. I resolved a lot of issues with my dad through filming. It gave me a huge platform to launch a skincare line, to build my social media. It was... There were a lot of pros, so don't get me wrong. I'm super appreciative to the Bravo universe. They treated me very well. Andy was always a gem. I say never. When I had Genevieve, I had postpartum anxiety, and I already explained how filming was anxiety provoking for me as it is. Now that Genevieve's bigger, would I consider coming back? I would, but like you said, I would want a little bit of a cast shakeup, because there's people that I think are just not good people, that I think are just looking for an aha TV moment, and they will stop at nothing to get that. And I just don't feel safe filming with them because I think they're liabilities.
Yes, but as you all know, that is not how it works. We do not get to pick our castmates. So most likely, I don't think I'll be on a show again. I was talking to my friend and she was like, why isn't there a show about women who are balancing their careers and motherhood and, running a business, all that stuff? Like, why isn't there that kind of show? And I'm like, because there's not enough drama. Like, no one would watch it.
People like the arguing and the fighting and the drama. It's like what's entertaining and what's engaging. Nobody wants to see women thriving and like going to work and like juggling all these things. Like, that's not fun TV. But
Right.
I
mean, part of the allure of Real Housewives is the drama, is the storylines, is the memes, is the social media fodder that people have entire
Correct.
podcasts
Yeah,
and blogs out of. I get it, and I respect that. I don't think I'm the type of protoplasm that makes for an iconic housewife.
Yeah, I think I would do reality TV. Like, I think Traders are kind of like a mental challenge game. Like, that would be super fun. Because I like the mental aspect of it. I like the challenge part of it. I would always do a cooking show. I love to cook. I love to be in the kitchen. I was a former cheerleader. I would do Dancing with the Stars. Like, there's reality TV that I would definitely do. But the drama and the like stress of housewives for 12 weeks is a lot.
Yes. I would put it out there. I would love to do Traders. And I think they pick like a housewife every season of Traders.
Or I would do like the girlfriends trips, like the girls trips, because those are short, Like they should
yes.
do a girls trip, former housewife edition, and Tiffany and I should go on that one.
Okay, somebody call Andy. I'm in love with that idea because I am a little salty, admittedly, that I did not get this like fabulous international trip that was promised to me because at the time that I signed on, there was no COVID. And then by the time we were filming, there was COVID. So I'm a little bit salty that I didn't get a trip. So we could do a former housewives and you could be on, Crystal could be on.
Yeah, I think it could actually be really fun.
Yes, somebody call Andy.
Bethany could be on.
I love Bethany.
I love her. I follow her on social media. I actually just bought some concealer because she posted about it, but I'm too dark for it. I look like a raccoon. I had these like white circles underneath. I was like, this is not the vibe I was going for. Thanks, Beth.
Oh my God. She is very polarizing. I know that not everyone adores her, but I just respect her so much as a businesswoman because she was like, standing in a Total Wine and More giving people samples of Skinny Girl Margarita mix like 20 years ago. She is a hustler. And
I also envy her lack of fucks given.
I know.
Like, I want to be fuck free.
I know.
I want to just not care. And unfortunately, I care still. Even though I care less than I did in the past.
Yes.
I still care. And I want to care even less now. But I'm not there yet.
But Bethany's like 54, right? And you and I are 40. So maybe as we age, like the fucks will matter less.
I need a mentor, a Bethany Frankel mentorship because I want to give less fucks.
Yeah, I mean, I know her
on and like do an episode about giving less.
Maybe we can invite her to come on because I know her peripherally. I mean, I have her cell phone number. I don't like text her every day. But maybe she would grace us with an episode on how to give less fucks with Bethany Frankel.
I'm here for it.
Okay, I'll text her.
If you guys have a housewife that you want us to interview, this is by no means going to become a housewife show, but I think it's a fun, something fun that ties us in together. If you guys have someone you want us to interview, you have any housewife questions we didn't get to, drop them in the comments. If you're not already doing it, hit follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. And thanks for joining us for another episode of Scrubs to Stilettos.
See you guys next time.